if you're gonna buy a bike that, you know, has hydraulic disc brakes that need to be bled, has big 20-inch tires, 20 by 4 inch tires that are really heavy and hard to take off the rim, the bead, take the bead of the tire off the rim of the wheel, and when you need to change a tire or change a flat, whatever, change an inner tube, etc. It's you're really, what the fuck? Fox, people. Jesus Christ. That reminds me, I had a freaking lizard in my house today. I had to get it out with a freaking pooper scooper and a broom. And my dog Josie didn't see it, thank God, because she's got like 15 notch marks on her belt for killed lizards. Anyway, if you're gonna have a bike that has those kinds of components and a rear hub, where you got to take the wheel off with the rear hub, with the hub motor on it, you're probably gonna need some help. So make sure there's somebody, whether it's somebody you can find through Facebook or Craigslist or Angie's List, whatever. If it's a person that has their own shop at home, whatever it is, or an actual e-bike shop, or there's one within driving distance, make sure you have one available, otherwise you're gonna be screwed. What are you gonna do when you have a bike, when you have a flat tire? What are you gonna do when you squeeze your brake lever all the way and it doesn't freaking work? Because you need to bleed the hydraulic brakes, brake fluid, right? So, unless you're like a mechanical, unless you have high mechanical acumen, or like myself who just spent time to learn, if you have that kind of time, God bless you, but most people probably don't. So make sure you've got the ability to get it fixed and serviced, you know, because you're not going to ride one of these bikes for longer than 3 months without something happening. You're just not. You're going to get a flat, your brakes are going to start rubbing, your brake levers are going to get really loose, meaning that you need to bleed the brakes. You're gonna get a flat tire, you know, on and on and on. So there's that. Here's another thought: when you're changing the tire on a big thick tire, right? So at least 3 inches wide, you know, 3 inches wide, 4 inches wide, 20 inch, 26 inch, whatever, 27.5 inch. Those tires are massive, and when you're putting them on the wheel, and you need to try to center the wheel on, center the tire on the wheel, meaning the bead, the inner rim of the tire. You need to make sure that it doesn't stick out more on one side of the wheel than the other. You need to make sure it's balanced. Otherwise, when you put that wheel on, even if you have like one side of the wheel has like a millimeter more of the bead sticking out than the other side, it's gonna be wobbly. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. What you do is you fill up your tire, maybe 5 psi, adjust, check all around the tire, make sure it's on the wheel evenly. Fill it up to 15 psi, do the same thing, etc. That's the way you do it. You incrementally fill it up and you keep checking. Okay. I do have a video that shows how to fix a flat without taking the tire off. Some of these tires are so big, it's a pain in the ass, especially if it's the rear hub where you got the motor to deal with. It's so much easier to not have to take the tire off. You lower the tire pressure to basically 0. Really squeeze the tire with your finger on the stem to try to get all the air out. Pull the inner tube out while it's on the bike. Use a squirt bottle to try to find, and then pump up the inner tube again. Now, once you've pulled it out of the tire, you know, pump it up a little bit, maybe 3 psi, and then use a squirt bottle to try to find the hole. And when you find that hole, patch it with a patch kit. Let it dry. Put the inner tube back in the tire. Center the tire again. Pump it all back up, and you should be good to go. So that's a little tip for you. Okay. Let's see what else. If you're gonna get one of these bikes like I have, a high-powered, let's call it an enduro, or a, you know, a really high-powered quote-unquote e-bike or electric dirt bike, kind of like the Sur Ron, by Lunacycles, the RCR by Onyx. Who else has one? Enduro Bikes has one. Stealth Bomber, etc. The thing you got to concern yourself with is, can you ride in the bike lane without a cop thinking you're a motorcyclist in a bike lane? And a cop could pull you over and say, well, what are you doing in a bike lane? You have a registerable vehicle. And you need to say, well, it's really not registerable. There's no VIN number. And, you know, how do you equate the amount of watts in my battery to how much, you know, cc's a motorcycle would have? Is it a moped? You know, it's all these things. So you want the good thing about the e-bike that I'm on, the Cab Motorworks, is I could get a bike seat, right? I'll show you. I have a bike seat instead of a moto style seat, and therefore I'm able to and it's got pedals, see that? So it looks like I'm on a bicycle, you know what I mean? At least somewhat, compared to a bike that has like a moto style seat, like a Sur Ron, you know? And I tell you, I've actually been pulled over, I'll link to it, by some cops and some park rangers, actually in the same freaking ride. We were actually in the newspaper about it. The same freaking ride. And they basically, I was with a bunch of Sur Rons, and they basically gave those guys a bunch of crap and told me that if I was by myself, they'd let me go, because I have pedals and I have a bike seat. Isn't that something? 2 sets of law enforcement. So just keep that in mind, okay? What else? What else, people? Should I try to go up there on the left to that hill? Maybe. Not sure. I might. Am I gonna be able to get up there? I don't know. Screw it. I'm not doing it. We're just going this way, peoples. Let's see what else. Difference between hydraulic disc brakes and mechanical disc brakes. Mechanical disc brakes relies on a cable that the brake handle pulls it, and it pulls the brake lever to clamp onto the rotor to slow the bike down, right? Hydraulic disc brakes rely on mineral oil to do that, and mineral oil has, you know, liquid has so much more power than your hand. It just does, exponentially. So the braking is smoother and much more efficient, much better on a hydraulic disc brake bike than a mechanical disc brake bike. But you do have to bleed the brakes on a hydraulic disc brake bike, which means running through the, you know, the plastic cable, if you will, or cord, excuse me, the plastic, you know, housing, is mineral oil, and it can get bubbles in it. When there's bubbles in it, it affects the efficiency of the breakage. And so you got to like take the mineral oil out, get rid of the bubbles, and put new mineral oil back in. That's called bleeding the brakes. Not terribly difficult. I've never done it, but I've seen it done. It's easier to get it done at a shop, but it's something you have to contend with if you have hydraulic disc brakes. Now that being said, there is what the hell you call it? A trick that I learned, that if you squeeze the handbrake all the way to where it like touches the handlebar grip, right? Squeeze it in as far as you can, all the way in on both sides, and use like a rubber band or a zip tie to keep it in that place overnight. When you release it the next morning, a lot of those bubbles will have gone away. It's crazy, I don't understand it, but it happens. So just consider that, okay? Let's see what else. Let's see. Wheels, tires, motors, batteries, suspension, brakes. What else? A lot of people think folding bikes aren't up to the task, that the integrity of the bike might not be there because the bike literally folds in half. I can tell you, from a electric to a little Jetson Bolt to a Swagtron to a what else, to, you know, a Luna, to a what do you call it, a Venton Cinch, they're all up to the task. The lever that holds the bike in place are strong enough. You're not gonna have any issue. You're really not. I've never had an issue, and I've ridden tons of folding bikes, so don't worry about it. It's a smaller bike. It has smaller form factor when you fold it, so you can put it in your car, and some of them, and it's cheaper. So even if you're never going to take the bike in your car, but you're just looking for an affordable option, then the Venton Cinch, for example, it's like $1,500, 500 watt rear hub, a lot of power, probably 14 amp hour battery. It's got pretty good range, and 20 by 4 inch tires. It's foldable, but you're probably not going to fold it. But like, look at that, you know, and just, it's cheaper. So there you have it, people. There's a tip for you. Consider foldable. It's totally worth it. And if you just lock it in place, you know, the mechanism that keeps it, you know, in one piece instead of folding it in half, you never have to worry about it. You don't even think about it. You forget it's foldable, you know. Trying to look at my bike and see if there's anything else I can think of. Twist throttle versus thumb throttle. If you've ever ridden a motorcycle, you're used to twist throttle. Gives you a little more control, doesn't hurt your thumb. If you've got some wrist problems, the twist throttle might hurt your wrist a little bit, but probably not. If you have tendonitis or carpal tunnel, the thumb throttle might hurt your wrist, your thumb or your hand, but probably not. Bottom line is they're both good. Everybody's got their preferences, you know. I've ridden so many different bikes with thumb throttle versus, you know, thumb throttle on the left, thumb throttle on the right, twist throttle, this kind of twist throttle, you know, the whole twist throttle, the whole hand grip twist like this one, or just like up by your thumb and your forefinger twists, you know. It's like, it all depends. People have different preferences. I prefer twist, but I'm totally okay with thumb. So trying to think. So traction. Earlier I talked about you know, lowering your tire pressure, etc. In general, the wider the tire, in addition to the tread, but the wider the tire, the more stability you're gonna have. So for example, right now I'm on like a 3-inch wide tire, and I can go no hands, no problem. If I go on one of my mountain bike electric bikes that only has like a 1.5-inch wide tire, it's a lot harder. I can do it, but it's a lot harder. You have a 4-inch wide tire, it's like, you know, it's so easy. So it just shows you that there's more stability the wider the tire, but more rolling resistance, right? You need a bigger inner tube. The tire's heavier, so there are some drawbacks. Okay, but if you have a decently powered motor, and battery, it doesn't really matter. If you've got fat tires, it's not going to really affect anything, you know. And you have the benefits of more stability. And if you have, let's say, a 4-inch wide tire, then you can lower it to, like, say 5 psi, and you can actually go in the sand. Not necessarily the really thick beach sand where you're gonna be playing volleyball, but like, you know, halfway down towards the water where the sand gets a little harder, you can actually ride in the frickin' sand. That's the benefit of wide tires, right? And you lower the tire pressure as well, and when you're in the dirt, you got all kinds of traction because the tire flattens out on the bottom and more of it's touching the ground, so you have more surface area touching the ground. What are my top 5 e-bike brands? That's a good question, right? In no particular order. Luna, Aventon, Cab Motorworks, there's so many others, but I'm struggling to like pinpoint one over the other. So I want to go with just those 3. Yeah, as far as quality and as far as, actually, you know what? Here's another one that may surprise you. So I've got 4, no particular order. The 4th one is Swagtron, believe it or not. So Swagtron, Cab Motorworks, Luna, and Aventon. Those are my top 4. I'm not going to give you a 5th. There's so many others, but none of them are really standing out. So those are my top 4 manufacturers. My top 5 e-bikes, you've probably heard me say it before, but I'm going to say it again. Any of the Cab Motorworks, we're just going to call it one. All in one, you know, one bike, but there's 3 different levels. But any of the Cab Motorworks bikes, this is in no particular order. The Aventon Cinch and the Aventon Adventure. Believe it or not, the V-Volt Sirius. And for the price, the little Swagtron EB7 Plus. Of the 59 electric bikes I've ridden, those are the 5 that stand up to me. In price and quality and overall value. So, and my least favorite 5, in terms of quality, in terms of price, in terms of what you're getting, any of the Rad Power bikes. Although I do like I take that back. I do like the Rad City Plus and I do like the Rad River 6 Plus. Very good bikes. The other bikes just kind of not so much. This little bike by Varla, they make scooters. It's called the Roadrunner. It's just crap, you know. There's a little sit-down scooter which is kind of like an e-bike in that regard, called Velocifero, and it's just a hunk of shit. It's got like lead acid batteries, you know, not even like the right kind of batteries. It only goes like 15 miles an hour, even though it says it's really durable, and it's got these big chunky tires, but it just sucks. So that's 3. For me, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I don't care, the Onyx. It's uncomfortable, it's small, it's rigid. I don't like the turning radius. It doesn't have a lot of torque. I rode one for 4 days and it was a tester bike and half the things weren't even working. The battery was dying, the pedal assist didn't work, the top speed only went to like 38. Just, there's so many things wrong with it. If it's a tester bike, I don't care how much it's been through, it should still freaking work. You know what I mean? So that's another one. And then the price, you know, I'm not a big fan. And then what else? That might do it for what I dislike. The first Jetson Bolt. The Jetson Bolt Pro is way better. First Jetson Bolt, I just felt like I was on cardboard and it was gonna break. Granted, I'm 210 pounds, but still, it should be able to handle me, and it was just really flimsy. It didn't even feel like it was a real bike. I just felt like I was sitting on top of a pencil, you know? Anyway, a racer end, people, a racer end. Okay, anyway, but one more bike that I really like, and it's because of the extendability, the customization, the ubiquity, the stability. I would go with the Sur Ron. That's my 5th favorite bike, the Sur Ron. And I've ridden 5, and there's just so much that can be done with it. And they're out of the box, they're pretty powerful. They don't have the best range, but pretty powerful. 60-volt battery. It's got a mid-drive motor, so a lot of torque. It's got the dirt tires. It's got pretty good suspension. So, you know, there you go. Those are my top 5. And then the ones I dislike. Is there anything else I dislike? Let's see. Anything else stand out? Not really. What's the best electric bike I've ever ridden in terms of overall quality besides Cab Motor Works? Because I talk about that too much. That would be thank you. That'll be the Trek Rail 9 with a 250 watt motor, and not a lot of power, but just the quality of the overall bike. It's just a precision machine. So that's less because the electric components are more just the bike. I would say aside from this bike, aside from the Cab Motor Works, to me the best electric bike you can buy, value for money. I'm really thinking about this, people. Yeah, it comes down to 3. I've already said 3 of them, but I'm gonna say it again. A Venton Cinch, a Venton Adventure, and the Sur Ron. But again, I would put the Cab Eagle and the Cab Recon up there as well. So anyway, anything else? What else? If you're gonna ride long distance, get some bike shorts with the padding. What else? It might not hurt to carry your license. If you ever get pulled over, they do want to see your license even though you're in the bike lane. And let's see what else. Let's see. If you're going to be riding down a hill that's pretty steep, then get your butt off the seat and lean back. Push your butt out behind the seat, right? If it's a long bench seat, then just, you know, scoot way back on the seat and still get off the seat though. Like squat down, but your butt off the seat, but scoot way back. If you're on like a seat with, you know, a bike with like a bicycle seat, get off the seat and just get your butt and your core behind the seat. You gotta have that momentum. You gotta have that center of gravity behind the seat, or you're gonna flip over. If you're gonna be going on the street, bike lane or not, faster than 25-30 miles an hour, I'll say 30 miles an hour, then get some pads. It's just not worth it, people. You fall, you're gonna be really, really, really screwed up, you know. And here I am with shorts and a t-shirt, but I'm not really going very fast. I haven't gone faster than like 20 today. I'm going pretty slow. But don't ride with shorts either. You fall, you're gonna get all skinned up. You know, it's happened to me several times. And just the blood that I've left on either a cactus or the ground, it's just not worth it, you know. Get some pads, get some shin guards, get some motorcycle pants, you know, get some knee pads that have the hard cover, get some elbow pads, get a chest protector or back protector, right? If you're gonna wheelie, do it at a park. Do it in the neighborhood street, like by your house in a cul-de-sac. Don't do it in the bike lane. Don't do it in the car lane on a street. It's just dumb. You can't see. You have little control. You could hit a kid. You could hit a car. You could hit the curb. It's just not worth it. So there you go. And what else? It's good to have a mirror. You only need one mirror. You don't need one on the right. Think about it. You're always going to be in America anyway. The land or the curb or the sidewalk is always going to be to your right. You don't need to know who's in the freaking sidewalk. You need to know who's in the lane. next to you. So unless you're gonna be riding in the car lanes, if you're riding in the bike lanes, you need a left mirror. If you're gonna be riding in the car lane, then you probably do need 2 mirrors. And 2 different types of mirrors: bar end that actually slip into the end of the bar, and then ones that clamp onto your handlebar and come up and out. And both are good. The one I have here, the bar end, is just lower profile, and the other one is just, you know, the one that clamps onto the handlebar is just higher. It's better visibility, but it's just bigger and higher, and it just, I don't know. I just don't want one for this bike. If you're going to buy a used bike, electric bike, from somebody, even if they tell you that they are going to transfer over the warranty is void. As soon as the bike changes hands, 90% of manufacturers that I've heard of, as a matter of fact, I never heard of one that doesn't. They void the warranty. They only give the warranty to the person that purchased it. You have to show the receipt, or, you know, the original registration in their system, and, you know, your actual name. So it's bullshit if somebody says they're going to transfer the warranty rights. It's just not going to happen. Okay. The other thing is, if you're going to buy an electric bike, do your research on Yelp, you know, wherever, Facebook, and look at reviews, because a lot of these companies, and I'm not going to name them, a lot of these companies have really shitty service. You know, I've reviewed tons of bikes and I've ridden tons of bikes, and a lot of the comments I get on my channel is, great bike, really like it, very cool, very powerful, great range, customer service sucks ass. And I'm like, wow, really? So, you know, a lot of these companies grew too fast, don't have enough people, or they're all worried about the sale and they don't give a shit about post-sale, you know. But you definitely want to get it from a company that's got a good reputation for support, right? You bought it. They should be giving you just as much support as they do to somebody who's potentially going to buy one. They should give you more support because you already bought it, right? But a lot of these companies like to just, you know, you pay, they forget, they're gone, you're gone, they're on to the next one, you know. So check that out. Be aware, if you're in Europe, I believe the UK and any of the 21 European Union countries, I believe, you can't have more than a 250 watt motor. And so if you're gonna get a bike here and you're gonna take it back, keep that in mind. If you live in Canada, I just heard this, I may not be right, but I'll do some research. Canada, you can't have more than a 500 watt motor. In the United States, they don't care. I don't know if it's more reckless or dumb, I don't know what it is, but the American law enforcement does not care. Certain states have certain laws where what kind of bike you can ride in the bike lane, in parks. Some of them have you know, class 1, which is you can pedal to 20 miles an hour. Class 2, you can pedal and throttle to 20 miles an hour. Class 3, you can throttle to 28 miles an hour, I believe. That's 3. A lot of the parks, paths, and cities for streets only let you have like a class 2. But I've ridden class 3, and it doesn't go higher than class 3, but I've ridden class 3 plus many times, and I haven't had any. I've only had one issue. So that's just an example of, depends on where you live. Some towns really crack down, some don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, people. Since I'm not covering absolutely everything under the sun, but I'm covering a lot, feel free to send me any questions, and I will answer them. You can also contact me on Instagram, _shredder. And happy to get back to you, happy to give you some insight, okay? So that's gonna do it. Hope you learned something. Hope I gave you some good knowledge, shared a little insight for you, and just kind of brought the experience that I have from riding 59 electric bikes, owning 15 electric bikes, to you. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I always try to get back to my commenters as well, so leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. God bless. Peace out.